and welcome to another Paper Crafting Tuesday. Today I'm going to create a card using this gorgeous stupendous mermaid. It's a birthday card, and I'll also be doing a background with a stencil. So this is a standby stupendous. It is called Mermaid, appropriately. I'm going to stamp her on this piece of white cardstock. I'm not going to cut it to size yet, just because I'm most probably going to cut around the image. To stamp her, I'm using the hybrid ink by My Favorite Things in black licorice, because I think I'm going to color her in with Copic markers. And you can use this ink for pretty much anything. So I know that when I color with the Copic, it won't smudge or anything. So I'm going to stamp her here in the corner. Lovely. I cut my image off of this piece of paper because I don't want to get it dirty. I'm going to create the background, and for this I'm using Stencil Girl stencil. It's number S007, and I'm going to create some sort of an oceany background using distress inks. I have Peacock Feathers, Salty Ocean, and Peeled Paint. I'm actually going to secure everything to the mat so it doesn't move while I'm inking. Going to secure that, secure the stencil over the piece of paper and to the mat. Okay, so now I can use my distress inks. I'm going to start with Peacock Feathers. Let's remove the stencil, see what we have. Ooh, oh, I like that. See how fun this background is? Very cool. It's a little too perfect for me, of course, so I'm going to drop a bit of water on this. I'm going to hold this, my usual trick, I hold the nozzle between my two fingers and I press halfway, and that creates fun drops. Zoom in so that you can see this, and I'm going to take a dry cloth and just remove the excess water. To color the mermaid, like I said, I'm going to use the Copic markers, and I'm going to strictly just color in. I'm not going to shade. I just want this very simple. So for the fish scale, I'm going to use YG95 and BG15. When you make a mistake like this and you're using the colorless blender, you got to give it some time for the blender to actually do its work, which means that you can't, oh sorry, it's blurry, you can't really brush colorless blender until the color disappears. You got to go in different stages. So I just put a second coat and I'm gonna let it work. I'm gonna let it dry and see how much it removes. And I think in the meantime I'm going to use some glitter on the fish scale. Add the glitter to the fish scale and probably the bra as well. I'm using a Wink of Stella. This is in the clear color. I have a bit of sunshine coming through here. Can you see the glitter on the fish scale and the crown? Isn't that cool? Love that. All right, so look at her arm. It's somewhat lighter than originally. So for the skin, I'm just going to use E30. I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not blending. I'm not looking for any shading of any sort. I just want to get the coloring done quickly. Although Copics are very fun to blend, you can still use them simply like that. It's still a fun medium to play with because it leaves no streaks. So you don't need to do really fancy coloring. You can just use them as simply as that. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. It doesn't really show all that much that I've made a boo-boo on the arm, but I did not go over with the E30 over this part. I just left it as is. All right, so now I can cut around her, and I'm going to try and cut around those water ripples. I don't want to cut them off because I think they're kind of important. So I'm going to do what I call a very lazy way to cut around an image, which means that I'm leaving quite an important border. I want to add some black accents to this background. I like it as is, but I want it to pop. It's a little too subdued for me. So I'm going to go around some of the circles using a football pen. You can also use Permaball by Pilot, anything that's a little thicker. So I'm just going to very sketchily go around some of those circles. I'll even incorporate a bigger circle. It looks like an oval, it doesn't matter. And maybe do a half one here, and let's see, this one here. I like this one. So all of a sudden that background that was very not blah but very subtle pops. I like that. Okay, call me crazy, but there's not enough black on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around some other circles and just dotting some of those shapes. Not doing anything perfect, just dotting. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so this is a very quick way to make a card, but I'm going to use, I can't find my cutting mat, and I don't want to cut on my non-stick mat, so I'm just going to put that over a piece of black cardstock. And if I could find my cutting mat, I would use the perfect ruler to give me a perfect border, but I can't find it. It's still in boxes. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer for this, and hope that I will be able to cut an even border. So what I do is I line up the end of this piece here, this piece of plastic, to the end of the image, and then I cut. And usually it works. Okay, so I have my 6 by 12 piece of paper. It's white cardstock. Folding it in half. This is going to go in here. Okay, so before I glue the mermaid down, I cut a piece of black cardstock. This is the wood grain cardstock again. I've been using the heck out of this because I absolutely love it. I think it adds just the right amount of texture. The purpose behind this black strip is to kind of provide a background so that the mermaid stands out. And lucky me, I have these dots that can actually surround the crown and gives it a nice interest. Unfortunately, I glued this piece down on the black mat before I thought of the black band. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to mark the two sides just just past the background here. I have a white gel pen. And I'm going to take that to my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut just outside of these, or inside of these two check marks. I decided to put that band a little bit lower than anticipated, so I'm just going to glue that down. I'm going to adhere the mermaid with some foam adhesives. So right now I'm doubling up the foam adhesive because I really want her to stand out, and because she's so blendy with the background. If I move her a little bit further away from the background, she'll stand out a little bit better. Alright, and I want her to have that halo with the dots, so I'm going to put her this way. Now I have a Sharpie poster paint pen. This is the extra fine point, and I'm going to use this to write the sentiment. So it's going to say, sending love across the ocean. So I'm going to take my time and write around the picture. I do apologize for the bad lighting before. The sun was glaring in my studio and I didn't notice. Okay, so for the sentiment, I'm going to use this clear stamp by Lawn Fawn. It's called Grand Greetings. And I'll just stamp Happy Birthday inside the card. Before I do this, I decided to do some more stenciling. Why not repeat the gorgeous color that we have in the background, or in the background of the top of our card. So I'm just going to put that stencil back. Okay, so I've got just a regular sponge here that I cut up in pieces, and I'm just going to go very gently, very lightly. Oh, I like that. This is going to create a nice background for the sentiment. Let's remove this. Oh, this is fun. Perfect, so now I can stamp the sentiment. See how the card inside comes alive now just because of that background. Love it. I like it. So the last thing I want to do is I want to take some Lagoon stickles and add that to the jewels of the crown. I wanted to put some rhinestones, but I picked up the wrong size. Rhinestones would be perfect to put on here, but I will use the stickles for now and maybe add a little band right here. I forgot. I wanted to add 2 little dots inside her eyes to make them pop. And I also think I want to add some more dots right here in this circle here, because we kind of lost the previous dots that I did. And maybe this one. So there it is. A mermaid does not specifically spell birthday, but just to show you that you can use pretty much any image and use it in your favor or for a specific purpose. I love how the background came very organically. I love the colors, and I also love the sketchy lines. And I think the mermaid is nice and shimmery, which is always fun. And the stickle is now dry, so it looks a little bit more turquoisey than it looked when it was wet. And of course, when you add a sentiment that you write with your own handwriting, regardless whether you like your own handwriting or not, it's always an added bonus. I think the recipient is always thankful for that. And of course, I love the inside. I think it's just nifty. Oftentimes we forget to decorate the inside, and I think it's important. So that concludes my tutorial for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, as usual, please leave them below, and I will see you on Friday.